Hi, and welcome to the LB0 Fox India YouTube channel. I'm Morgan, LB0 Fox India. And what if I told you there's a mobile radio which is small enough to fit inside the palm of your hand, or almost? Well, there is. There's actually a radio like this that's been on the market for a while, the Retevis RT98 mobile radio. It's a 15-watt single-band radio available in both VHF and UHF modes. So it's applicable for several different contexts. And Retevis was kind enough to send me this radio free of charge. So just as a disclaimer, I did not pay for this radio, but all opinions are my own. And this little radio is small enough to be mounted pretty much everywhere. And by the end of the video, we're going to take it out to my car and mount it there just so you can see that it pretty much fits in every space. But first of all, let's take it over to the bench and see what it looks like. So this is what is included in the box. You get the radio, a mounting bracket with some thumb screws to mount it. You get the microphone, which is permanently attached to the radio. And you get some mounting accessories such as a mic clip, some screws, a fuse, and some rubber pads. And that's about it. But you don't really need any more anyway. So let's turn the radio on and take a look at the different functions on it. Turn the radio on by pushing the volume knob. And it starts up. And as you can see, it's got backlit buttons. It's got a well-lit display. So let's go through the buttons. You have a fun button here, which is actually a function button, but it sounds a lot more fun when you say it's a fun button. You got a VFO memory button here. You get a scan button and a button to set and open the squelch. And that's about it. On the microphone, you got an up and down button to flip through the memories or use it in VFO mode. And you can also press scan and it starts scanning, which is pretty much what many of us will do when we get this out in a car. We'll just leave it on scan. That's the way I do. And I also programming the simplex frequencies on the radio. So it's easy to find those and I don't have to mess around while driving with the VFO and memory functions. And that's about it. It's a simple, small radio. That's pretty much the physical dimensions of this radio. Where it comes to range and if it's a good radio, speaking of range, comparing range and radios could be tricky. There are so many factors involved in what the range of a radio is. It can be propagation. It can be on VHF, UHF, pretty much primarily antenna and topography. But just as a quick test, I opened 3 repeaters yesterday when I got the radio. The first one is 130 kilometers away, give or take. It's on top of a pretty high mountain, so the repeater has the advantage of altitude. But 130 kilometers, 15 watts, pretty good. The next one is about 70 kilometers away, which still is pretty decent. And the final one is my local repeater, which is only 5 kilometers away. But I managed to open all 3 repeaters and have QSOs on them. So that's a good thing for this radio. Do you need 15 watts for this? Not if you get a good antenna. And the antenna I used was my Diamond X50 on top of my roof, fed with about 15 meters of RG213 coax. So you know what I used for the range tests. But let me show you what a QSO on the radio looks like, and then we'll take the radio out and mount it in the car, and I'll get back here with my conclusions on this radio.
LB0 Foxtrot India åpner repeateren, lurer på om det er noen som lytter.
Ja, LA5 Fox Golf Alpha lytter faktisk.
Ja, LA5 Fox Golf Alpha LB0 Fox India. Ja, jeg bare tenkte jeg skulle få filmet at jeg har en QSO med radioen min til en YouTube-video, vet du, så da tenkte jeg fikk prøve å åpne for å se om det var noe svar, men det var jo greit, Kjell. LA5 FGA LB0 Fox India.
Ja da, det går helt fint, det er støyfritt og fint. LB0 FI, LA5 FGA, hei hei.
Ja, LA5 FGA LB0 FI 73 og fortsatt god da.
So what you see here is the center console of my Nissan Leaf. And what I've done is I've just checked that the radio fits, and it fits really well. We'll zoom out afterwards so you can see. And secondly, I put some Tesa double-sided tape on the mounting bracket. Let's remove this and we'll figure out where to keep it approximately. Let's just leave it around here in the middle, but a little bit further back so we got room for the cups and the cup holder. And my camera didn't want to focus. There we go. And we press down. And there we go. The radio is mounted. So I'll hook up antenna and power, and we'll try to turn it on. And that's how easy you mount a radio like this. And this is by no means a professional install, but it solves the problem. And knowing me, I'll have changed this radio in a couple of months anyway, so I never do any more complex mounting than this. Let's see if we can get a QSO going in the car. LA5 FG, Albe 0 Fox India. LA5 FG, Albe 0 FG. Ja, jeg har bare montert nye radioen i bilen, så jeg tenkte bare skulle teste at det virket som det skulle her over.
Ja da, det virker helt suverent. Ikke noe merkbar forskjell fra inne til ute du kom.
So that's how easy you mount the radio in your car. And just to conclude, as a first impression, because I got this radio yesterday, so it's by no means a full review of the radio, but it's a really good first impression. The radio is well built, it's small, but still usable. The buttons are placed where you'd like to find them. They're tactile and nice to touch. And as you've seen, the range on the radio is good. So I'll keep this radio in my car for a while now, and I'll get back with a follow-up video in a couple of weeks, and we'll do a little bit of a discussion if this is a radio to keep or not. But as the first impression, it looks like a nice radio, and for $65 US, which is it is sold for on the Retevis website at the moment of recording, it's a really good deal. So I wouldn't hesitate if you need a small mobile radio. But again, I'll test it for a couple of weeks and draw my final conclusions then. Anyway, if you like this video or any of my other videos, don't hesitate to click like, to leave a comment, and even subscribe to my channel. I try to make new content a couple times a week, and I try to live stream every Sunday. So there is some content coming, so please do subscribe. Anyway, until next time, 7-3.